I crave the destruction of Olympus! A true warrior does not hide, Zeus! Face me! Sorry guys, but after playing through all these games again, I feel like I need to dethrone Zeus myself. Thank you for joining us for today's complete story of God of War. As you can see, this is a requested title, so make sure you put more of your requests down below. And don't worry, we're going to be going through these games quickly. We're not going to be spreading this out over 2 to 3 months like we've done in the past. Now, to truly understand Kratos' journey in God of War, we need to begin with the start of his life. Kratos was born and raised in Sparta with his brother Deimos. The two of them trained under their Spartan protectors to become mighty warriors in the Spartan army. But eventually, the city was raided by the Olympian gods Ares and Athena. They came to the city looking for the marked warrior, and after they saw the birthmark on Deimos, they decided that he was the child of prophecy and carried him away. Kratos tried to save his brother, but he was knocked away by Ares, leaving a scar over his eye. The loss of his brother was a lesson that Kratos would never fail again, and in honor of his lost brother, he tattooed his body with the same mark as his brother. Time would progress and Kratos would eventually join the Spartan army, marry, and have a daughter. But sadly, his daughter was the victim of the plague and grew weaker. By Spartan law, she was to be thrown in the chasm and left to die. But Kratos heard of a healing elixir called ambrosia. At this exact moment though, there happened to be a wager of the gods, and each god chose a champion to go for that ambrosia. Kratos turned out to be Ares' selection. His journey took him around Greece as he laid waste to the other champions, and then he got the backing of other Spartans and earned many weapons to use in the war. Once Kratos had the ambrosia, his Spartan army and himself ended up fighting against a giant barbarian army. He defeated them, but not without sacrificing his entire Spartan army to get it back and save his daughter. Due to his acts of heroism, he was promoted to captain in the Spartan army by the king of the Spartans. Now a high-ranking official in the army, Kratos quickly rose to the rank of general. As a general in the Spartan army, Kratos used many unorthodox tactics to win his battles. But the more battles that he won, the more his bloodlust and greed grew. He would win so many battles that eventually he would end up against the barbarians once again. But they would once again outnumber and overpower his army to the point where Kratos was left at the mercy of the barbarian king. But just as he was about to die, he called out for Ares, asking Ares to spare his life if he swore allegiance. He refused to lose this day. Ares accepted and killed every barbarian, and granted Kratos with the Blades of Chaos as a sign of his servitude. Things seemed to be going well for Kratos working for Ares and killing anybody that Ares pointed him at. Kratos was so good at his job that Ares began to worry that he wasn't putting his all into it since he was still attached to his mortal life through his wife and child. So, in one of the raids on a village of Athena, Ares tricked Kratos into murdering his own wife and daughter. The goal was to make Kratos into the perfect warrior without any attachments, and it sure worked. But once Kratos realized what he had done, he swore his vengeance on Ares. The perfect warrior was now going to take out the tool of his creation. Kratos then burned his family's bodies in the local temple of Athena, and an oracle cursed him to wear the ashes of his family on his skin at all times, making him appear pale as the moon and granting him the name Ghost of Sparta. Everyone would see his skin and his blades and know he had become the personification of cruelty and selfishness. Because of what Ares had put him through, he refused to do any more taskings for Ares. We now go to an unknown time before everything. Out of a war from a time long ago, the Furies were created. Their purpose was to punish anybody who had broken an oath or betrayed somebody. Because of this, they worked for the gods of Olympus and punished anybody who broke their oath. The Furies' first victim was Hecatares, and they turned his massive body into a prison to hold other oath breakers. The Furies then grew close to Ares, and he attempted to use them in his plot to overthrow Olympus. He turned them into the oath breakers of vengeance, and they became very cruel in their methods. He then had a child with the Fury Queen in hopes of making a mighty warrior to overthrow Zeus, but the child named Orcos was not up to Ares' standards, and following that he tried to make a warrior out of Kratos. Well, after Kratos started defying Ares, this was considered a breach of his oath, and he was taken by the Furies to become imprisoned in the mighty prison inside of Hecatares. An undetermined amount of time passes with Kratos in this prison, and during this time he's forced to see himself killing his own wife and child over and over as a form of torture until Orcos frees him from his imprisonment. He informs Kratos that in order to free himself of the Furies and Ares, he would need to seek out the Oracle Delphi. Kratos gets free of the living prison and travels to find the Oracle. Over the course of the journey, Orcos reveals his past as the child of the Furies and Ares, and reveals that he is not the warrior that Ares wanted. It is actually Kratos. The Oracle then informs Kratos that in order to break himself of the oath and his bonds to Ares, he would need to slay all the Furies. Before Kratos can do anything else though, he's forced into a fight with all 3 Furies at once. They overwhelm him and they imprison him once again. He is told that if he returns to Ares' servitude, they'll set him free, but he refuses. Luckily, one of the Furies is so furious at him from a previous injury that she attacks him and takes the torture too far, but all she manages to do is break the chains holding Kratos down. He breaks free and he makes his first Fury kill, and then he proceeds to procure the tools he will need to kill the other 2 with Orcos helping him along the way. Eventually, Kratos finds himself face to face with the last remaining Furies, and he kills them both. But the Fury Queen warned him, once he breaks his bond with Ares, he'll remember everything he's done in the service of Ares. With the Furies killed, Kratos realized that he still wasn't free of his bond to Ares though. Well, you see, just before dying, the Furies made Orcos the Oath Keeper of Kratos, meaning that his bond with Ares is now held by Orcos. The only way to break his bond now is to kill Orcos, the demigod who has helped him break free of everything. At first, Kratos refuses, stating that he will not take any more innocent blood. But Orcos insists. They both need to be free. And after much convincing, Kratos takes Orcos' life, breaking his bonds with Ares. Once the bond is broken, Kratos remembers everything he did while on the service of Ares. Nightmares of his previous actions haunt him. So he burns the corpse of Orcos in his former house, and then he proceeds to work willingly for the gods of Olympus, hoping to atone for his previous actions. But things are just about to get so much worse for Kratos that it gets ridiculous from here on out. Thanks for joining me for the Prelude, the comic books, and God of War Ascension storylines. Next, we'll be covering 2 to 3 games depending how long each one is. And if you've learned anything new or you just enjoyed the story, make sure you give the video a like. We really do appreciate it. With that, I'm Infected Crow for Eligible Monster, and I'll see you guys next time right here at Eligible Monster. Eligible Monsterception!